Anurag, I feel like every quarter we go through this, people sort of get down on Apple. They say it's just so big. There's just no growth left in this company. Tim Cook can't do anything more. And they somehow find a way to do something more here. Looking at these numbers right now, did they meet your expectations?
Oh, they meet and exceed. I'm very happy, actually. To be honest, the iPhone number is the one I was concerned about. They're done very well there. The supply chain, you could say, issues seems to be behind them, and I think they should set them up for a very good next financial year.
Talk to us about the supply chain behind them. I mean, they do not, in the statement, we're just saying how they just want to be carbon neutral across their supply chain, but trying to understand how they're managing to weather this better than other companies. Anurag, is that going to be a key question for you, or is it more about where the future growth comes from?
I mean, it is a key question, and the big thing is Apple does get preferential treatment amongst all the different manufacturers. But, the issue was still that, can they still make out those iPhone numbers or not? And, we have, as I said, we're getting some mixed signal on the supply chain side of it. But these numbers, give us the comfort that almost there is broad growth across all categories. I mean, look at the services revenue. This is spectacular. Now, this should pacify investors at least for a couple of quarters.
Anurag, a company that targets net neutrality over the long term in terms of being debt and cash equal. And I'm looking at cash that has continued to balloon to $202 billion. Total debt migrates downward from 136 to just 111 billion, but that's still leaving a gap of about $100 billion or so. They're continuing to talk about their dividend of 22 cents per share, maintaining that. What do they do to reach sort of that cash debt neutrality targets?
I think it's a mix of buybacks and a mix of dividends. I mean, this company is going to generate close to $100 billion in free cash flow. I mean, I don't think there is any company out there that is so big in terms of the free cash flow numbers. So the only thing they can do, honestly, you can't buy anything out in the market in terms of M&A. The only thing you can do is keep on buying back your shares and keep on going on more dividend.
I am curious, though, Anurag, on that point, though, is there argument to be made that maybe Apple should be doing a little bit more M&A, that maybe they could put that cash to work in a way that maybe is a little bit more longer-term productive than just giving it back to shareholders through stock buybacks?
I think services is where they should be thinking about, and they have. I mean, think about it. If the product's growth is only, let's say, high single digits, this services growth is in double digits, and I think that's the right way to do it. Because I actually am against them getting into the card business, which has, like it or not, somewhere around 20-30% gross margins, whereas the services business is about 70% gross margin. I like that 70% gross margin rather than the 20-30 hardware kind of work.
Talk to us about geographies. Apple up year over year in all geographies, we understand, except Japan, where there was about a 1 billion year over year pullback. Where is more important to them at the moment? Because, of course, we always were very focused on the China number.
So China is important, as you mentioned, but, frankly speaking, for Apple, for any year, iPhone number is the biggest thing that you care about. And given this last, I would say, 6 to 9 months has all been about the supply chain challenges, it's not going to be so much about the demand side. If the global economy remains robust, I think the demand side is already taken care of. It's the issue is, can they fulfill their orders? So for me, it's broad-based, less concerned about one geography or the other.
Big picture, Anurag, and I don't know if you can answer this. There was a lot of concern that maybe Tim Cook wasn't being innovative enough, continuing sort of the plans that had already been in place, but of course coming out and saying that there is very strong consumer response to recent products. Has there been enough recent products, innovation at this company to really think about that big diversification?
Taylor, the one thing that we don't talk about is their MacBooks. The M1 chip. I mean, I'm not an expert in any way, but the feedback that I've read about that chip compared to anything that's produced outside is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. They're gaining so much market share in the PC market. We just don't talk about it because it doesn't move the needle as much as the iPhone. But frankly speaking, that particular product itself, you have anybody who can afford that kind of I would say PC/computing equipment will most likely go for a Mac in the future.
Yeah, and just to put a point on your statement there. We've heard from Mark Gurman and a lot of the other folks who cover this company that chip really did sort of revitalize demand for some of those MacBooks in a way that we hadn't seen in quite some time. I'm curious as to how much Apple can sort of maybe take that over into its other products, the physical hardware products, Anurag, if at all.
I think that's really one of the most important things. And again, we don't hear about this because, again, every time it's only iPhone and services in China. But what that can do, in my view, is it substantially improve the margin profile of some of these products if they can somehow, take care of a lot of these parts internally and design them better. I mean, why can't they outsource that design and let other manufacturers make it? Now, they are not in that business. They like to control the entire ecosystem themselves. But, they've done a much better job than Intel when it comes to the chip making business.